Yes. Peace, blessings, love, and light. It's your girl, divinely guided B. So, hold on my throat. I'm excited because you guys don't understand the challenge that sometimes it is for me to even record. So when I get the chance to, it just puts me in a good space. Um, so if you are going by the title, I wanted to I was drawn to review Young Famous and African. It's one of my what's it called? Guilty pleasures, but not so guilty because a lot of us share that guilty pleasure. Um I'm showing a little skin today. I usually don't, but I was feeling a little hot. No red today. I had to go with a little gold. I felt like it went with the theme a bit. You know what I'm saying? A young, famous, and African. Lord. My throat's a little dry, so bear with me. I wasn't feeling too good. I've been experiencing some attacks heavy, which is why one of the reasons why I always say your girl is here to stay, because I know when they be trying it. Is there something going on in my coffee? It just needs to be shooketh. I don't know. Let me see. Okay, just leave that alone. I don't know. It was something in there that look a little. It looked white. I don't know. I don't want to discuss my own self. So, and I paid for that, so I'm definitely gonna drink it. And I checked the expiration date, so it's not like I'm just out here sacrificing myself for no reason. Um, Let me see. So let me put this up real quick. Um, where are we? I want to put up. Why is it not? I want to put up a. Let me see. Okay. I'm trying to do here. Mm, let's see. Hold on, bear with me. I just want to make sure that I put. What am I looking for? Dang it. This is gonna have to do. Hold up. This will probably have to do for now. I don't like this image. Okay. But am I able to? Okay. So here we are. And I hate the fact that this is what it's looking like right now. But let's get to it. So, season 3, episode 1. The name of the episode is Love is in the Air. So we find that Zari is getting married to Shakib. So it opens up with her wedding. And let me see. Annie has a bone to pick with Nadia and still upset with Swanky. So supposedly, where we left off, there was some type of voice note that was allegedly recorded by Swanky, where he heard Annie talking foul about him. And but they supposedly squashed that. So Annie lets it be known she's still upset about that. Then we also meet Kefi Kefilwe, and she has this grand entrance in the middle of Zari's reception. And Zari keeps in mind to address that at a later date. Annie talks with Fantana, and apparently she wants to get to know Fantana a little bit more. That's episode 1. It wasn't really too much. It's just kind of just catching up on the main characters. So that was that. And episode 2, boundaries. So the way they named the episode is Boundaries ? And then Boundaries ! So boundaries. If it's I've been around a lot of people from the continent, and one thing that they'll do is exclaim when they feel called to do so. How dare you? Boundaries? I'm Caribbean, so it's not too far off. We hear that a lot. So yeah, episode 2. I took some notes, so that's what I'm okay. I wanted to be prepared because I'm doing this in a few parts. I wanted to do all of it at once, but then I said, you know what? Let me not bite off more than I could chew. I was already a little behind on uploading due to the spiritual battles that I deal with, and that are trying to prevent me from doing this. And I'm not gonna stop. So, however long it takes for me to show up, I'll show up. But I will show up. Okay. Anyway. So for episode 2, boundaries, Nadia confronts Annie at Kefilwe's event. Annie leaves the event, of course, because it seems like she can't really take the heat, or that's just what she does. She's been leaving a lot lately. Let me see. Excuse me. Zari and Diamond meet up and agree Diamond will meet with Shakib, who, as we are informed in the first episode, is Zari's new husband, because we saw the entrance of the wedding. I mean, we saw that they had a wedding. And then she asked Diamond to, of course, meet with him because, and we know that for those who watch the show, for those of you who are familiar, Zari and Diamond have had an unclear, I would say, I'm hearing unclear set of boundaries, where it seems like they know that they're not together, I guess, on paper, or I guess they don't claim each other when it comes to, this is my partner, right? But there's some form of emotional attachment that is still there, and they have a certain understanding. And because of that certain understanding, it seemed like Zari gave a lot of leeway for Diamond to seem as if he is inappropriate with her, as far as like he can return back whenever he feels like. It seems like as if he treated her like a revolving door. except she's a revolving door that is put on a pedestal, a high class revolving door. And that's not even to offend the boss lady. I like her, but it's a little uncertain where they stand. We also know that Diamond likes to hang out with other women in other women's company, and there's stuff in the blogs, whether that's like things that we hear here or back in the continent or other places, wherever it is that his music is welcomed, right? And those that follow him also know that he's a lover boy. Pretty simple. And there's no disrespect. I honestly don't have anything against anybody who lives in their truth, because if anybody signs up to be a part of that, that's also their choice, right? So just like it's your choice to recognize that this person is a player, you also chose to then interact and engage with the player. And you know what players do? They play. Hmm? Gems. Whoever needs to hear that. And then what happened? Nadia Swanky and Zari, they meet and discuss what Ani has been saying. So basically, what was it? Fantana made it known that she is loyal to Swanky. We saw in episode 1 that Annie took an interest into getting to know Fantana on a friendship level. However, we also realized, and so did Fantana, that Fantana is not Annie is not her friend. She was more of a venting board or venting session for Annie. And she also said in her confessional she's gonna tell Swanky what has been told about him. So that's that. Excuse me. So like I said, Nadia, Swanky, and Zari, they meet up and discuss what Annie has been saying. I kind of left it at that. I didn't add any more notes. Episode 3, here we have, it's called Showdown. Annie is confronted at Kylie's dinner by Zari. So Kaylee or Kaylee, she's the one that's involved with DJ Naked. So that would be the Caucasian lady. I like her. She's the minority in this situation. So Miss Kylie, Miss K, she I think she's a sweetheart, to be honest with you. I think that she deserves so much more. I think that her and Naked do love each other, but and so DJ Naked is a bald-headed guy. I think that DJ Naked loves her, but I don't think he loves her enough to take that step wholeheartedly. And by wholeheartedly, I mean, like, if he does it, it'll be more out of I guess so. I guess I don't want to lose her, so this is what I have to do. But it doesn't mean that that's what he wants to do. And we have to be mindful of how bad do we want it, that we forget that our partner has their own feelings, their own triggers. Sometimes we get caught up in, I want my ring, and she doesn't come across that way. She's really comes across very sweet. But she needs to know that he's committed, and just like he can have his fears, she is definitely entitled to having a man that is fully committed. He was married, I believe, 2 times before, so I'm sure he doesn't want to go through divorce, and that's fine. Nobody that chooses to get married with the right intention wants to end their marriage, especially in a way that leaves a sour taste, right? It's one thing to continue and move on and find love. It's another thing to commit and have to face those scars. And so he's at the point where it's like he has somebody, but now he has to face the scars, face the truth. And the truth is that his previous relationships left him completely scarred to the point where sometimes he come across as emotionally unavailable. And Kaylee doesn't deserve that. However, she also chooses to stay in this relationship. The man supposedly had given her, I believe it was the key to his house last season. She was trying to get a ring. She got a key. So it's like baby steps. I don't think we should ever force anybody to commit to us. I think if we love our partners like we say we do, even though we want what we want, we also have to give space to let that person choose for themselves, because that's where the free will comes in. So just how you can choose to, I want this, I want that. You can choose to give grace. Just how you can choose to give grace to them, you can also choose to free yourself, because giving grace to that person doesn't mean that you have to be miserable. Okay, sometimes we stay in unhealthy connections that we don't need just because of the years, or we put in effort. I think that that's unhealthy way to look at things. And I say this because you chose to be there, right? So there was something there that you had to learn for yourself. So it wasn't just about, I did all of this for you, but what did they do? They also did something for you in that they taught you, hopefully, to value yourself more. They taught you, what it may or may not feel like to be loved, to have a genuine love, to have someone that's committed. So there are things that you pick up on along the way too. And I think that sometimes we don't know how to end on a good note. And there is a good and goodbye. I'm not saying that Kaylee has to leave him, but I think that she needs to be aware that this is a man that needs a little bit more time that she may or may not have to give to him. That's a choice. That's free will. If you choose to stay for somebody's healing or stay around, that's a choice. That's a choice, and I don't think it's fair to condemn the other person because you see flat out that this person is flawed or is in heavy need or is heavily burdened. And if you choose to help them carry that load, that was your choice. Sometimes we're quick to say, "Oh God, but why?" or "God doesn't love me." And let me excuse me. Sometimes we say, "Oh, God doesn't care about me, and why is this happening?" And the truth of the matter is that we forget that we also have the free will. And I'm gonna keep emphasizing that, because it was you freely went and you signed up for this relationship, Kaylee, or whomever I'm speaking to. You freely stayed, or you know what I'm saying, you willingly decided that this was your person against everything that has been shown to you that may be a red flag. And if you're so sure that you can help this person get through this and be okay with the outcome, whether that person stays with you or not, because there is a possibility that once somebody is healed, you may not be the person that they want to stay with, because now they're in a different place. And then when they got with you, they could have been in an unhealed state. So that's to keep in mind. I don't want to harp too much on that. So yes, so that's Kaylee and Mr. Naked. Let me see. So, yeah, so Annie is confronted at Kaylee's event. So Kaylee hosts, like, I think it was, what she called it, Diamonds, and it sounded very luxurious, like a nice event. They had it, I believe, at I don't know if they rented the place or it was their home. It was a nice like space, and they're at this round table, almost like, and Swanky's on one end, Annie's on another, and what was it? They just let her kind of have it at this point. Annie then asks Swanky to jump in and help. You're not gonna do anything, Swanky. No, because by now, if you remember, Swanky, Zari, and Nadia met up to have a conversation about what's going on. What Annie has been saying. Supposedly, Swanky's thinking that they're in a good space, or at least a cordial space. That's not true because there's obviously he's hearing things. Just coming back to him. So at that point, Swanky is just letting her drown. Absolutely not. He actually confronts her as well about the things that she's been saying, and just he's not interested in helping him. And Zari points out he's not here to help you. Nobody's gonna save you. And Andile isn't here. Andile wasn't. He's not in the season at all. I don't think he was mentioned either. So I've finished the season. I just watched it again so then I can make my notes and I can present, which is why I will be uploading these reviews. Yes. So Fantana also. So this is still at Kaylee's event. Fantana admits that she did say was about lunch. She's like, yeah, lunch. Remember lunch? She was like, yeah. And it made me laugh because she had like this little short little bottom lunch. Remember lunch? But you know what? That's what Annie gets because she thought she could pull a fast one on Fantana. And you know how sometimes like people think, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, or, this person is I'm getting sorry y'all, that was quite a pause. I had a call. But where I left off was Annie was expecting Swanky to help her at the dinner when at Kaylee's dinner, where she was confronted by Zari as well as Swanky, and where Fantana said they had lunch and they had met up. And let me see. And as we know, when she met up with Fantana, Annie expressed how she was feeling about certain things. With Swanky, let me see. Okay, there we are. Let me see. Also, during this episode, the fellas, Louis, DJ Naked, and Diamond, they do an activity. It looked almost like dirt ride. Let me see. They call it. It was like a safari outdoors activity. I think they call it. And please forgive me for my people in the continent, please. Bundu dashing. And I wrote it like that. Bundu dashing naked. You know how when you quote something, if someone tells you who they are, believe them. Maya Angelou. It's kind of like that's how I wrote it. In his words, it was bundu dashing. Okay. In this episode, this is still episode 3. Naked and Annie meet, and she believes that everyone has a problem with her. This is where, I need Miss Annie to take accountability for herself. I think that sometimes when we have gone through a lot of turmoil ourselves, sometimes we then excuse our own behavior, and we merge those two together. And by that I mean, by the time you're watching this, you've probably already learned about Two-Face, Baba, Innocent. That's all the same person. That's Annie's husband. If you're aware of the show, if you're aware of um, what happens as far as like in the blogs, then you would have already heard about this relationship outside of Young, Famous, and African. Um, however you learn about the situation, you learn about it. But it is obvious that this woman has some form of Stockholm syndrome when it comes to her husband. Her husband allegedly got involved with her when she was a teenage girl. So a lot of people have used as an excuse, like, oh, that's all she knows. He's all she knows. So of course, and this is where it goes back to what I said about that's an excuse, and that's the merging of, so two things can be true, yes, meaning Annie has gone through so much trauma, especially I can bet from early on, because this man has had his claws in her since she was a teenager, I think maybe 15, 16. Um, then of course that influence will be there. And if anybody knows anything about Stockholm syndrome, the basics is that, you basically excuse the behavior, or there's some type of there's a empathy that you have towards someone who is a predator towards you, or has exhibited predatory, narcissistic, any negative behavior towards you. This happens when people get kidnapped, people are molested for a long time, and they have to deal with their abuser. So then it's like is a certain acceptance, a level of acceptance of their role, and that this person is a staple to them in somehow, even though the person may be harmful to them. So that can be true. Also, it can also be true that Annie needs to admit that she does not take accountability for herself. And when she does, it seems like she just wants it to be, oh, okay, like I said, but it's okay, that's it. Like, when she's done with it, it seems like she's done with it. And you can clearly see in Annie's behavior that woman has taken on some of the not so good parts of whomever has abused her, whether that has mainly been innocent, or that could be her family too, because when you come from a loving environment, they're not just going to want to auction you off to the next thing just because um, the person has a name. Because I do believe that she was influenced to stay. Okay. And I want to do a separate video on them. Really sparks my interest. I really feel drawn to talking about the show. And one thing I usually say, if you've watched any of the video, is that I don't do things that I don't want to do. I've learned that everything that I do has a purpose. And not only that, usually things that I'm drawn to it for a reason. And there's something to tell here. And I'm going to do a separate video on Annie and her divorce. Okay, so back to the review. So yeah, so Naked and Annie meet up, and she says everyone has a problem with her. There's also apparently a group disco activity that comes that occurs, and it was fun to see. And at the disco event, Annie, I didn't like that she said a slick remark about not at the event, but it was a confessional about being beat down even more. But it's like, lady, the reason why you're walking into this room with this animosity, is because with the animosity towards you, or the weird vibes, is because you created that based off of trying to go behind people's backs, and going behind people's back in the same social circle, you know. So that wasn't smart at all. All right. And let me see. Annie eventually goes home, so she calls her husband, and he said it was okay for her to go home. So she did. Okay. Let me see if I could do a quick little. I had gotten what's it called? Copyrighted. Or I got in trouble. Not really trouble. I was flagged for copywriting when I did my Tyler Perry. So I'm trying to be mindful of not putting up things that I know can affect me in that way. And I know that I'm a growing channel, not small. I'm a growing channel, so I don't want to, you know, F it up. So yes. So what did I say? So I'm gonna show a little quick something. Let me see. Mm-hmm. Let me add this to the stage. Uh-huh. How do I add another thing? Oh, here it is. I'm still learning. Um, hmm. Let's see if I can quick little. Why isn't that? I don't know what's going on here. Oh, that's what happened. Okay. I get it. Get it. All right. Don't come for me unless I sound for you. Okay. Here we are. Let me see if I could. Perfect. Because I gotta keep in mind how these folks speak. All right, perfect. I don't know if you guys can hear it. But this is where she's what's with this audio? I hope you guys can hear it. Okay. So this is where they go to the disco. So we see here Naked organizes the event. So I gotta skip through a bit. So you see they're having some fun. This is when Annie walks in. So that was that. And then let me see. Nadia was not having it at all. This is where the lack of accountability comes in. Like, girl, child. Zari looks nice. But then again, I feel like she always looks good, but sometimes she may look a little stuffed. She looks good as far as like the pieces. Fantana said their relationship scares me. I agree, girl. So let me not stay too much there. What is this? Okay. All right. So that's that. And then this is when Annie calls to let Mr. Two-Face know that she will be going home. Okay. Let me see. Oh, okay. I wanted to skip real quick because I'm gonna do a separate thing on that. All right, Annie, that's fine. So I really like that Fantana is supportive of Nadia. So Nadia, she lost her boyfriend. I believe it was to gun violence. And honestly, she seems to be keeping it together to the best of her ability. And it's not easy to um dealing with loss in that way. And it's not just any type of loss, it's loss that other people are witnessing you go through. And Nadia, you could tell that she is the strong friend, right? So imagine that the strong friend is going through a loss and they make it look so easy because they refuse to involve other people in that space with them. And sometimes that may not be the best outcome, but it's considerate. And that just adds on to the type of woman that she is. The fact that I feel emotional just when I pick up on her energy. Sometimes when you're a strong person, you carry yourself with strength and assuredness of yourself. Sometimes people forget that you also experience vulnerability and that you need the space to be vulnerable, free of judgment. So Nadia is a very needed cast member. I believe so. And I think that she's the voice of reason. I think she's also the one that's more spiritually in tune with herself. Hey, Nadia. If you ever see this, hey, girl. All right. So Nadia and Fantana meet up at Nadia's, and it goes to episode 4. Episode 4. Who rules the jungle? That's the name of the episode. So Gani finally appears. Okay, I've missed this woman. So I saw, what was it? I saw Kani in, what was it? Oh, in a few movies before I even started watching Young Things in Africa. I'm sorry, I'm tired, and I'm thinking about the food that I have to prepare and curling my hair. So I have a lot of things in my head. Um, I love me some Kani. I think she needed to take some time off. I believe she said she had some burnout. That's what's being said. Um, I'm not gonna go deep into that. So Kani finally appears. She comforts Nadia, and it was a very emotional moment. I think that Kani is to Nadia what Nadia is to other people, which is she is the light, right? She provides that space that I was just talking about. So Kani said, "I know that Nadia." She said something about Nadia not being herself, and she'll know that Nadia is herself again when she's posting again, when she's cooking again, when she's staying at home alone. Like it's hard for her to just be alone sometimes, and she's coming up with, I guess, different reasons to not really face what she's feeling because it's just so heavy. She shared so much in this episode about people being on watch for her. I believe it was this episode. But even in her mourning, she is graceful. Shout out to Nadia. You can't tell me nothing bad about that girl. I'm telling you, that woman seems to live in her truth through and through. She didn't hide from us from the first season who she was. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't hide that. Like I appreciate her. I appreciate her. I appreciate characters like that, people like her energy, like her authenticity. So the moment lightens up slightly when Nadia lets Kani know Fantana thinks she's pregnant by Diamond Platinums. Okay? I'm just saying. Como Saba. That song is popping. So let me see. So then Kani calls Swanky while they're still sitting there. Kani tells Swanky, Fantana thinks she might be pregnant with Diamond's baby. Well, it was video, so I guess it's like that. Fantana thinks she's pregnant with Diamond's baby. She didn't do all of that, but I did. Let me see. I wrote a mess. Okay, Louis plans a trip, and we find out Gefilwe is going through a divorce. So the gang gathers up. And what's his name? Louis has this something prepared in the safari. It seems like he likes safaris a lot. That's fine. So I guess he got like an Airbnb or something like that over there to gather everyone for the next few days or however long the going away was for, right? The holiday. And yes, so while they're gathered together, the same night that everybody seems to show up, Kefilwe Kefi, she gets she's on her phone, she's distracted, and she lets us know that she's going through a divorce. And because she is unable to hide her emotions at the gathering, she shares his information with the group. Okay. Move. I'm chuckling because I'm reading what I wrote next. Zari has her Oprah Moon opportunity. I love the way Kefilwe speaks. She's so like proper, like so classy, and she's so sophisticated. She had her Oprah opportunity. Zari's a pest sometimes. And I don't think she does it on purpose. I just think that Zari's the type of person that um people are not always ready for to be put on the spot. And she's the type that she don't mind being put on the spot, but you got to be willing to go and be on the spot with her when it's time. And if you can't be on the spot with her, then get ready to get dragged, because don't send up a Zari unless she says me. Sorry. They're in the the car, the little safari trucks, where you could see like the outside, the ones that we're used to seeing in the videos. And Zari was like, "What's your story? What's happening?" Because she was Zari was not playing with her at all. And mind you, Kefilwe thought they was really bonding. Kefilwe really thought that Zari was like was curious with the with good intention. I mean, I don't think Zari had bad intentions, but I think that Zari is so much of a shock factor. It's kind of like she has a lot of audacity that people are not prepared for. What's your story? I mean, because we heard it was a fake marriage. So mind you, I don't know how far apart they had filmed those two scenes when Kefilwe was vulnerable with the group one day, and then the next day they're in the safari car or whatever, looking outside, looking at the animals, and then she gets that, "What's your story?" Like, Zari really wanted, she was like, "Is this even worth really being mad about?" Zari's a Libra. I'm a Libra. It'd be the audacity, excuse me. All right. Diamond hosted a gathering and set sights on Kefi. That's Kefilwe. Of course he would. This man has no shame. What Fontana sees, I'm not gonna lie, I know what she sees, but she needs to outgrow that. Girl, grow up, okay? That little, the little sausage and the cute little words, none of that shit matters if what he's consistently showing is that you are just a slide. And you treat yourself as such. Now, I ain't trying to start no issues here. Because he's a charmer. But I guess maybe because he's a wealthy charmer, people will excuse his behavior. Okay, we also meet Ini, the actress. This woman is legendary. When I tell you, when I was coming up, I used to love watching the little bootleg movies and stuff. But when I used to go get my hair braided, and they used to play her right there, she was always like, I always saw her as a woman always suffering. I said, why is that girl always suffering? Most of the movies that I seen him with, no, but why? I love Nollywood movies. How could you do this to me? How could you do this to me? Ah. Shout out to Annie. Annie, not Annie. Just saying. So she and Louis discussed surrogacy since you had to ask surrogacy. I'm channeling y'all. Okay. So yes, she and Louis discussed surrogacy since she's gone through the process. Let me see if there's anything else that I may have forgotten. Let me see. So let me see what's going on here. Yes. What's this girl's name? Pantana. She's stressing me out too. So this is the part that I mentioned already. Um, it's the party. He wants to control me. Lord, sorry. Shout out to Amy. She's a Niger gal. I love it. See? Then I tell you she was looking like, why? Why you do this to me? I'm not gonna lie to you, she's one of the most probably recognizable faces of Nigeria. And that's just me. As far as like going international, any of you ever see this? Mama, I knew of you before this show. You have built your reputation. You have definitely worked on your craft. Well deserved. Well deserved honor. If this is Young Famous in Africa, she definitely belongs there. She belongs there. All right, Swinky. Where were we? Yes. Shakib confronts Diamond as well. Mm. Girl, you know what they're talking about. And with that, I conclude my reviews of Young Famous and African season 3. Okay. And I went through episode 1, Love's in the Air, episode 2, Boundaries, episode 3, Showdown, and episode 4, Who Rules the Jungle. All right, stay tuned for the rest. And listen, like I always say, your girl is here to stay. Peace out. Oh, what's that called? Can you guys like, what is it? Like, share, subscribe. I'm getting used to saying when I